Hello friends! Today I want to tell you about how animals sometimes truly need our help. We shouldn't remain indifferent to their suffering. There are many compassionate people in the world who do something to make the lives of animals better every day. Some of them feed homeless animals, providing them with food and warmth. Others risk their own lives to save animals from danger and suffering. But regardless of the way they help, all these stories are equally touching and inspiring. This baby monkey got entangled in the net and would have probably died if it weren't for these kind people who happened to be nearby. The rescue of the little animal took several hours, and all the time, the mother trustingly watched the people work, knowing that only they could save her baby. This man decided to free the wolf from the trap. Despite the wild animal's attempts to bite him, he didn't give up and still managed to save the wolf. This orphaned bear cub hid in the tree and got stuck there. Fortunately, rescuers came to its aid. They carefully pulled the little bear out, warmed him up, fed it, and took it to a sanctuary where it would be safe. The lynx kitten got its paw stuck in the net and remained trapped all night. When the man approached it, the little animal tried to remain calm, but it understood that it was its only chance to get out. The duck stood next to the drainage into which her ducklings had fallen, hoping that people would notice her. Fortunately, some people did. They got the ducklings out, and now they are no longer in danger. And these shots show a man helping a snake that was stuck in a fence. Look at how careful he was when freeing the reptile. It's amazing that someone didn't just notice this raccoon with its head stuck in a trash can, but also decided to rescue it, even though it took a lot of time and effort to do so. Hoping to find even a drop of water during a severe drought, the elephant and her calf got stuck in the mud and had already resigned themselves to their fate. Fortunately, some kind people stepped up and dedicated all their strength to saving this family. The newborn puppy couldn't breathe, but its owner never lost hope and did everything so that this tiny creature could breathe and stay alive. The bear cub recently lost its parents and approached people in search of food. This kind man started feeding it, and now the bear cub knows that it will never go hungry. The young woman couldn't pass the bird in need of help and helped it find its freedom again. The elephant got stuck in a swamp and couldn't even get up. It had no choice but to accept its impending death. But people had a different take on the matter. Dozens of people came to its rescue and saved the exhausted animal. People saw the goat that was clearly distressed and seemed to be asking them to follow her. They did, and she led them into a pit where her kids had fallen. This example shows that sometimes animals do ask for help. An elderly man noticed the drowning fox in the water and hurried to its aid. Even after saving it, the man couldn't leave the cub and decided to take it home until it grew stronger. The fishermen discovered that a turtle got caught in their net. The men carefully freed the reptile and released it back into the wild. The young man heard a faint whimper coming from a bag. There was an unconscious puppy inside. The man immediately sprang into action, giving it first aid, and it worked. The puppy started breathing and regained consciousness. This man didn't get scared by the great height and volunteered to help the dog that fell out of a window and was trapped on the air conditioner. He's a true hero who risked his life to save an animal. The reindeer fell through the ice. only person around who could save it was this man. Kind people helped the turtle free itself from the fishing line and returned it to the water. If the turtle could speak, it would have definitely said, "Thank you." Rescuers pulled the cat out of the burning house, but they didn't stop at that and gave the animal first aid because it had inhaled smoke. This poor fox couldn't find food, so it came to ask this person for help. Fortunately, the man turned out to be kind and compassionate and decided to feed the animal. Just look how carefully the fox takes the food from the man's hands. The pregnant goat got trapped on a small mountain ledge. People tried to catch it with a big net, but the animal got scared and started falling down. Luckily, the rescuers were prepared for it and had another net set up. They found this puppy in the house after the fire. Its condition was critical, but the rescuers performed CPR and the little animal started breathing again. It made a full recovery in just a few weeks. The baby elephant fell into the storm drain. Several people came to its aid, but they couldn't get it out even with an excavator. So, the people armed themselves with hammers and chisels and broke the asphalt. When they finally got the baby out, it turned out that its leg was broken, so they sent it to a rehabilitation center. As soon as the animal got better, it was returned home. This old, blind camel wandered through the desert for a long time in search of water. When this young man realized that the animal would die without his help, he lured the camel to a large bowl using the sound of water. Rescuers found 5 little puppies in a burning factory. When they pulled them out of the fire, it turned out that the puppies had inhaled a lot of smoke and lost consciousness. A heart massage and some cold water brought them to their senses. After the successful manipulations, the mother of the puppies approached the rescuers to thank them. The coyote fell into the water and whimpered loudly, hoping that someone would hear it. Fortunately, these kind people did notice the animal, pulled it out of the water, and brought it to safety. These fishermen were hoping to catch some fish, but they caught this bear cub instead, thereby saving its life. The bear cub was far from the shore and completely exhausted. Instead of saving his own life during a terrible hurricane, this man rushed to save the dog. The lizard tried to squeeze into a crack in the wall but got stuck. Surprisingly, people noticed it and rushed to its aid. It wasn't easy to free the reptile, but they did succeed eventually. The elephant lost its front leg. A prosthesis was specially made for it, and now the animal can move freely again. So, thanks to people, the elephant is back to living a happy life. The fishermen caught the crab and found some shell fragments near its mouth. The men carefully removed them and released the crab back into the wild. The young woman accidentally found this sick cat in the forest. The animal was frightened, but decided to trust the woman. It took over 2 months for the cat to recover. And now it looks as if it has never experienced all of that horror. It may be hard to believe, but this animal is actually a hedgehog. It had to go through a lot, but fortunately, it ended up in the hands of kind people. Care and love helped it recover, and now it's healthy and happy. Some kind people called the rescuers to save the dog trapped in a locked car in the scorching heat. Unfortunately, the dog had very irresponsible owners, but soon after being rescued, it found a loving family that will take proper care of it. This fox had its paw stuck between branches. We don't know how long it would have remained trapped if not for this man who came to its aid. One of the guests at a wedding went outside and saw the drowning dog. He couldn't help the animal on his own, but soon another person joined him. Together, they managed to pull the dog out of the water. Rescuers heard a piercing squeal under the rubble of a collapsed house and found the guinea pig there. Thanks to their kindness, the animal is now fine. Two men noticed this large turtle on the beach. It was turned upside down. They didn't even hesitate for a moment. The men quickly approached it and returned it to its normal position. Curiosity led the raccoon to climb a tree and get stuck between thick branches. Fortunately, people noticed it and called the rescuers, who then carefully freed the animal. Hopefully, this raccoon will think twice before taking such risks in the future. Look at these adorable shots of the baby sloth returning to its mother. The person who saved the little animal was rewarded with incredible gratitude from its family. These birds built their nests on high-voltage wires, which pose a danger to their chicks. Surprisingly, there were people who cared enough to move the nest to a safer place. Sometimes snakes get so hungry that they swallow all kinds of trash. This python swallowed a towel, but the veterinarians were able to figure out the cause of its discomfort in time to help it. Packaging tape turned into a deadly trap for the small gecko, but this person knew what to do to ensure the lizard's safety. The young man decided to feed the fox. Imagine its surprise when the fox's friends also paid him a visit. The man was taken aback and decided to feed the whole friendly company. The puppy fell into a shop window and was whimpering plaintively. One of the shoppers quickly figured out a way to return the puppy to its owner. A real rescue operation was organized for this small parrot. Look at how many kind people showed concern for the bird's well-being. This pigeon was so frightened when it ended up in the water that it allowed a person to pick it up. Even dangerous animals like lionesses need human help sometimes, especially when they're literally dying of thirst. This little mouse got its head stuck in a pot. The man decided to help it. He carefully stroked the animal and helped it get out of the trap. The polar bear was so hungry that it even took cookies from a person's hand. This incident shows yet again that even the largest animals need our help sometimes. This person managed to save the bat that was drowning in the water and didn't even hope that someone would rescue it. The little parrot decided to take a bath during a strong heat wave, but ended up nearly drowning. It got soaked and couldn't take off. Luckily, this very kind and compassionate person was nearby. He took it home, dried it off, and released it back into the wild. These people could have just passed by the seahorse stranded on the beach, but they decided to save its life. The little kitten was plaintively calling for help. Some people heard its cries, and now it's safe. This little rodent decided to take a swim in the water, but it didn't expect the pool to be so deep. Fortunately, this young woman noticed it and quickly returned it to safety. The squirrel was doomed, and its only hope was getting help from humans. So, it came to the nearest crowded place. People noticed the animal and helped remove the cup from its head. These bikers stopped by the road to give water to an exhausted elk calf. I truly hope that there are many more people like them on our planet. On a hot day, the cyclist came across this koala that wouldn't leave the road. People realized that the animal was suffering from thirst and gave the koala some water from their bottle. The sloth ended up on the road and was likely to get hit by a car. The driver understood this, so he stopped and got out to move the animal to a safer place. The pigeon was exhausted from thirst in the scorching heat, but thanks to the boy, it was able to survive the day. Two cheetahs had to go hungry for a long time, until they were lucky enough to meet some brave people willing to feed them. It's not only the cute and furry animals that may need our help. Sometimes, even the predatory fish may require our assistance. These shots show the little cub being grateful to the person who saved it after a forest fire. The skunk frozen to the ice would have probably died without the help of this person. But fortunately, the animal is now safe and sound. Firefighters saved 150 piglets from a pigsty that caught fire. During a forest fire, the little kangaroo lost its entire family, but it was fortunate enough to meet its guardian angel in this man's person. The foal got stuck between tree branches, but it was lucky that there were people nearby who helped it get out. This little creature got lost and would have hardly been able to find its way home and survive if it weren't for this person who saved it. This dog has epilepsy, so its owner always tries to be nearby to make sure her pet isn't left alone during a seizure. The kangaroo's paw got stuck in the wire fence. The longer it tried to get out, the more pain it felt. People noticed the animal and they quickly rescued it. These boys are real heroes. Look how selflessly they've rushed to save their four-legged friend from the snake's embrace. The dog tried to remain calm because it fully trusted the boys. The wolf was so hungry that it wasn't afraid to come so close to the human to get food. The duck almost became the python's dinner, but people gave it a second chance at life. We don't know who left these little creatures to die in the trash, but that's not the main point. Thanks to this person, they will be able to find a loving and caring family. These bear cubs climbed too high up the tree and couldn't get down. People came to the aid of these clumsy little creatures. The hungry polar fox was hopelessly searching for food when suddenly it found a large stick of sausage. Of course, this food ended up in the animal's path only thanks to the people who care for wild animals and would not let them go hungry. The parrot was born with leg defects and was never able to walk. Nevertheless, its owner never gave up on it and tried to help the bird. One day, his efforts paid off. He managed to make special prosthetics for the bird, and the parrot finally learned to walk. This man knew that animals suffer from thirst in the intense heat, so he walked around with a bottle of water and offered them a drink. We don't know how this little creature ended up on the high-rise building. The main thing is that fate brought this man into its life and that he became the animal's guardian angel. These tourists accidentally discovered dolphin calves on land. The woman didn't waste any time. She quickly took them to the sea and released them into the water. The young man wanted to have a snack after a hard day's work, but when the hungry fox approached him, he realized that this food was much more important for the animal. The duck was in mortal danger under the ice, but luck was on its side, and this kind person helped him get out. The flying squirrel got stuck in barbed wire and was afraid of the person who decided to help it. But the man didn't give up. He freed the animal from the trap, treated its wounds, and released it back into the wild. The dog approached people, asking for help to get rid of the suffocating embrace. The man couldn't refuse to help the animal and risked his own health to remove the snake from the dog's neck. Look at how the traffic police helped stray dogs cross the road. The only person who could give this bird a chance at life turned out to be this surfer. Now all the feather creature had to do was dry its feathers and take flight again. The entire village participated in the rescue of the baby elephant that fell into a well. With the help of an excavator, they managed to destroy the structure and create a path for the little animal to get out. It's amazing that the people even managed to treat the animal's wounds during the rescue operation. The coyote was willing to do anything for food. It even allowed the person who fed it to scratch its chest. The bird ended up in a trap. If it weren't for this man, it would have become an easy prey for a predator. People noticed the dolphin that got stranded in shallow waters, so they dragged it to deeper water where it would be safe. This young man didn't stop at saving just one life. Just look at how many little turtles returned to the sea thanks to his kind heart. Several residents of Iceland came to the aid of the seabirds. They warmed them up, took them to a high cliff, and set them free. It's impossible to look at this kitten without tears. It was whimpering pitifully, begging for help, but hardly anyone wanted to approach it. Fortunately, fate brought by this kind person who treated it for parasites, washed its eyes, and fed it. And most importantly, the little one found a home. The man set a good example for his daughter on how to treat animals and birds. He carefully freed the owl that got entangled in the net of a soccer goal. It seemed the bird didn't expect a human to come to its rescue. The crow had already resigned itself to its fate, but suddenly a person appeared nearby and saved its life. The soldier noticed a cage with the hamster in one of the abandoned houses. He didn't hesitate before taking it with him. Now, the two are best friends. The cat got stuck in a narrow gap between the walls. Rescuers had to get involved to help the animal. Now the cat is safe and has a loving family. The donkeys got lost and had already resigned themselves to their fate of dying in the cold. But these kind people noticed them and took the donkeys to a warm place, warmed them up, and fed them. Now the donkeys are safe. The young woman noticed the exhausted armadillo and offered it water, without which it wouldn't have survived. This little bird got trapped in adhesive tape and could have died, but thanks to the kind woman, it was saved. Several raccoons climbed into a trash bin in search of food, but couldn't get out. They were lucky that a kind young man was passing by and came up with a way to help them. This dog went for a walk on a frozen lake but fell through the ice. Its mournful barking was heard by its owners, who risked their own safety to rescue their pet. This bear was calling for help after falling into a basement, but fortunately, it quickly figured out how to use the stairs and managed to get out on its own. When this alligator finds it difficult to find prey, it pays a visit to its human friend. The man always has a tasty treat for it. Sparrows usually keep their distance from humans, but these two were just too hungry. On one of the freezing winter days, the squirrel couldn't find food. But it was lucky enough to meet this little girl with a big heart who fed it. The hare found itself trapped and couldn't get out. Some teenagers came across the animal and decided to help it. Now the little hare will get to reunite with its mother. Even such resilient birds as the griffon vulture sometimes need to take a rest during long flights. And this man was willing to share his paraglider so the bird could rest and continue its journey afterwards. Surprisingly, this hummingbird wasn't afraid of the man and decided to drink water from his hands. This man fed the birds regularly and eventually became their true friend. The zebra foal fell into the water, that was too deep for it. It was already starting to drown, but luckily, the staff of the nature reserve were nearby. Now, the mother zebra can relax, knowing that the little zebra is safe. And that's all for today, friends. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.